Hello, I'm Carl. In this video, I'm just going to talk a little bit about when I first started listening to metal music, which this year is actually 20 years ago now. It's hard to believe it's been that long, but it's been 20 years. So, when I was about 14, for the first time I heard Ride the Lightning being played on my mate's stereo next door, and I was in his garage, we were lifting weights, and I was listening to it, and something about it, I just liked it. But after that, he let me borrow some of his albums, CDs I mean, back then, because we had CDs back then. And I was listening to Slipknot's first album, Limp Bizkit, Korn, Creed, and a few other ones I can't really remember, but I'd listen to them every day and just listen to it. And the more I listened to it, the more I liked it. And I used to try and sing along with Slipknot mostly and Korn. I know it's not really, back then it wasn't really metal. The new metal scene I think was just really coming up. This is in like the year 2000, so yeah, and it shows how old I am. Well, I am pretty old, not that old, but yeah, anyway, the point is I started listening to it, and then after about 6 months I wanted to learn guitar, just because I was hearing all these things and all these riffs and solos and stuff. And so I managed to get a guitar teacher to teach me. He was only being paid $20 a week, and he taught me for almost 2 years, but I probably got to learn it on my own. Anyway, I started learning guitar, and that's when I got deeper into more music. Like, over the years I've listened to everything in terms of metal, and I do like rock, but I don't think I could listen to it all the time. But with metal, I could probably listen to it, I feel like, for the rest of my life, really. There's not much problem with that. But so a few more of the bands and stuff I started to listen to and play on guitar and stuff was, I started out obviously playing Metallica, which was a big influence on how I learned guitar and everything. Must have tried to learn every riff from the first 5 albums, from Kill 'Em All to the Black Album. And then I moved on to stuff like Megadeth, Slayer, and Iced Earth, and just other stuff. I can't remember them all, but then later on I I hadn't heard of it before, but I started listening to stuff like As I Lay Dying, Bullet for My Valentine, like metalcore stuff, getting out of the thrash kind of scene. And then and Machine Head too. I liked the Blackening. I learned every song on the album, but I can't play them anymore. This was about when it was new, so over a decade ago, I guess. But yeah, I played that a lot, and then I started getting into melodic death metal, like stuff like Dark Tranquility, House Arch Enemy, just Insomnium. There's a ton of them, really. It's mostly Swedish, Finnish, or European melodic death metal. So yeah, and I was getting into that, and so, well, my point is just, yeah, I just wanted to make a talking video. It's a bit weird for me to sit in front of my computer and talk with just, I'm not used to doing this. Recording and playing guitar is one thing, but talking is different. Anyway, yeah, so basically these days I listen to anything in terms of metal and rock, basically. But my favourite genres of metal is probably thrash, obviously, then groove metal like Pantera and other bands similar to that. I learnt a lot of Pantera too, playing on guitar and drop D and just standard and other stuff. And melodic death metal, of course. I learned a ton of Arch Enemy songs, which, I mean, yeah. And then there's metalcore, like As I Lay Dying. That's probably my favourite metalcore band, but I mean, that's debatable because there's other good ones like Bullet for My Valentine and what's the other one? Oh, there's Trivium too. Yeah, Trivium's a good band. And yeah, I'm into a lot of their stuff, like Shogun, when that was new. I did try and learn every song I could, I'm sort of lazy in terms of playing guitar though, because I'll go to Ultimate Guitar and get tabs mostly in Guitar Pro format and learn the song, but a lot of times there's stuff missing that you have to figure out by yourself. On as long as the tuning's right, it makes it a bit easier though. But I do occasionally sit down and put a track into Reaper and just learn it by ear, but not that often. I don't spend much time playing guitar anymore. Not that I don't want to, I kind of want to make time for it, but I've just been studying a lot, web development and stuff, and trying to build games in JavaScript and other things, but it takes up a lot of time, and I still want to get back into playing my guitar again. And yeah, there's this I couldn't list all the bands that I've actually listened to and try to play riffs and songs and albums from, but I did keep a list. About 5 years ago I started listing all the bands that I've listened to, at least maybe 5 or 10 songs or at least one album, and I think I got as far as about 1600 bands, metal bands mostly, from all over the world. And then I stopped writing them down, so I don't know what it's at now. But yeah, this still feels awkward, me talking into this microphone like this, but oh geez, it's been 6 minutes. Well, so anyway, my point was, if my influences on guitar as well as my attempts at singing, I can't really sing, but I want to believe that I can learn. If I learn to play guitar, that maybe I can learn to sing, but screaming or growling would be good too. But my influences, I'll try and list my top 5 or 10, I guess. I don't necessarily listen to them all the time, play them all the time, but my top influences be Metallica, Megadeth, Slayer, Iced, Machine Head, Trivium, Bullet for My Valentine, Is I Dying, Arch Enemy, and just trying to think. I guess that's maybe it, and maybe and Pantera, yeah, and a ton of other bands that I've been learning, like listening to and playing. But when I started this channel, I didn't really intend to like make it a thing where I upload every week, which I've been doing for about 4 years now, every week, once a week, just mostly riff videos and my own recordings. They're not really that great, but there's something. And yeah, just I lost my train of thought, but yeah, so I guess that's about it. Well, what can I surmise in 20 years of listening to metal? That it's pretty much still as what's the word I'm looking for, is good as I remember it 20 years ago. And all the new stuff coming out now, new bands and new music, it's sort of changed from how I remember it, but I still enjoy it. Like it still makes me feel good and feel better. And a lot of times when anything happens, good, bad, whatever, I just put some music on and listen to some new stuff, or even stuff I've listened to before, and it just makes me feel better. Or play my guitar, same thing, play along with the music, and it makes me feel better. So in 20 years, what I've learned is that, well, that metal is just something that I think is always going to be a part of my life until I die, I guess. I'll always listen to it. I don't see why that would ever change, but who knows. And yeah, I guess I probably could have put some of my thoughts down on this first before I recorded, so, but I guess that's about it. And I'm not sure if I'll upload this video, but I probably will, because I wanted to try and do that, because something to mark down the fact that I've been listening to metal for 20 years, since I was 14 years old. Before that I listened to other music, but this is the music that makes me that I believe in, that I like and means something to me. So yeah, and I don't know what videos I'll be putting up for the rest of this year. I want to try and find time to record stuff with actual video, not just audio, but I know it's just getting difficult with my studies. But anyway, that's it. So I'm Carl, and I've been listening to metal music for 20 years and playing guitar for 19 now, even though it might not seem like it, but I didn't like get too serious with the guitar. It's just something I do to make me feel better. When I hear something I like, I play it and it makes me feel better, and I play along. Like, I guess it'd be the same as anyone that sings or plays an instrument, and when you're part of the music, it just makes you feel better. And yeah, and another couple of people I like too, music wise, instrumental music wise, would be Andy James. I really like his instrumental music. That's good stuff, and I kind of wish I could play like that, but I'm just way too lazy to play that well. Paul Wardingham from Australia, he's another instrumental one that I like his music as well, and I wish I could play like that. And so anyway, I guess that's the end of this video. It's a bit longer than I thought it would be, but so yeah, I've been listening to this music for 20 years, and hopefully if I'm still alive in 20 more, I'll still be listening to it, and don't know what it will sound like then. Be something to wonder about, I guess. But yeah, that's it. And yeah, I guess that's it for now. And and I'll see you all later. So